Ingo from tradingfootball.eu, and in this video we're going to show you how we use a number of different strategies, both pre-match and in play. And we start off with Manchester City against Southampton, and we're looking at the correct score market. And in addition, I also use the both teams to score where I backed no. So the idea really was that I thought that Man City were obviously going to win this game, but the score lines in the correct score market I chose reflected the fact that Southampton could at least get one and maybe even two goals. I added actually sort of a half-time, full-time market trade excuse me, for £10 on Man City the draw and Southampton Man City should Southampton sort of take an early lead in that particular game. As it happened, City scored on 3 minutes, and Southampton equalised after 37. So our both teams to score no market was dead. So we have to bear in mind now that for the rest of the trade we have a sort of a £10 deficit already. So we're relying basically on the correct score market now, and we've backed the higher scores pre-match, 3-1, 3-2, 4-1, 4-2. So we've got quite a number of the higher score lines covered. So we shouldn't really be sort of in too much trouble here. The score went to 2-1, and then he scored again to make it 3-1. It's a little bit early. Which meant that I was obliged really to lay off sort of quite a lot of the correct score lines. I mean, 4-1 was obviously covered, but then sort of higher sort of score lines, sort of 5-1, and more perhaps, they weren't. So it seemed at this point that perhaps I kind of wanted to try and look at exiting the trade. As you can see there, the third City goal was scored on sort of 49 minutes. So I'm looking to lay off the 3-1, 3-2, 4-1 and 4-2. That's all of the green that I have on the correct score and the correct score home market. I could, as we saw, just sort of actually hedge out completely. But I've got this £10 sort of liability deficit already on the PTTS market, so I want to give myself at least a fighting chance of getting some kind of green here. So I kind of got the choice of either exiting both the correct score and the correct score home 2 market, or at least reducing the red on either of them. So what I decided was to lay the correct score market for half of the green and exit the correct score 2 home market for a completely sort of hedged green of about £22, and hope that City wouldn't score another goal, or Southampton wouldn't make it sort of 3-2 kind of early on. So I've left myself some kind of green on the 3-1 and 3-2, and I've reduced the red there, so we're down to about sort of £7. As we can see, I'm trying to get those 2 lays matched, which will reduce the red of £17 there down to £6. Of course, the longer it's staying 3-1, that price should obviously continue to come in. I'm a little bit worried about the timing here, so I'm taking the available price of 6s on 3-1 to lay and 12.5 on 3-2. So I want to get these matched as quickly as I possibly can. Okay, there we are. Both the 3-1 now and the 3-2 are matched. So I'm left with sort of £52 green, 45 on the 3-2. So we've still got a possibility that if it stays 3-1, we can make quite a nice healthy profit here. We've hedged the correct score 2 home market, so we've got a guaranteed £22 there. It's kind of early days, and I was watching the game, and City, definitely looked like, there's another goal in them. So I decided to clear that remaining £7 red on the correct score market. So I'm laid 3-1 and 3-2 again. And by that lay, I've managed to get sort of £15 green on that particular market. Now, turning over to sort of another strategy, it's called the OD strategy, where we back the draw and back over 3.5. Now, this is if the draw is 1-1 at half time. We're looking for odds of both markets to be round about 2.6 if we can sort of possibly get that. And an early goal in the second half, you can either let the trade run, or you can try and hedge out of the over 3.5 market. And our first example of this particular strategy is in the Italian Serie B, Carpi against Trapani. It's 1-1 at half time. So I back the draw at 2.7 for £10. And I backed over 3.5 goals for £12, and I'm asking for 2.3. The same strategy I'm applying to a Bundesliga 2 game, Kaiserslautern against Bochum. Again, the odds are sort of quite similar. The over 3.5 a little bit higher there, sort of 4.2. Now, sort of on about the 60th minute, it was still 1-1 in the German game, and there was a red card to Kaiserslautern, which kind of doesn't help matters at all. Anybody who's familiar with trading on Betfair will know that the red card can often sort of hinder your chances of sort of making a decent trade. It's on to sort of 67 minutes now in the Kaiserslautern game, and the fact there has been a red card already, I decided to lay the draw a little bit earlier at 1.75. I would normally look to get out round about to the 1.50 mark. So I've laid the draw for £10 at 1.75, and I'm laying it again at 1.58. I'm looking now basically to hedge out of the match odds market, sort of roughly get about sort of £7.50 hedge green on the match odds. Remember, I've still got a £12 red on the over 3.5. So it's possible I could be looking at a sort of a £4 loss there. Couple of minutes left in the Kaiserslautern game, and I've decided to try and see if I can at least cover the £12 red and over 3.5 of £12 by laying the draw again at 1.14. In fact, that game sort of ended 1-1, so I lost around about £4. Now, you can just see on the screen here that in our Trading Football live trading area, we've got two kind of chat rooms, and the chat room you saw there was just the sort of in-place instructions room, which has instructions on what moves to make in play, with a sort of a direct link to Betfair, sort of quite a useful feature for our members. Now, Sporting Gijón Cordoba in the Spanish League 2, Secunda division. I don't know, kind of A, B, and C. There's a kind of a load of them. I don't quite remember which one it was. Anyway, this is not the Primera League anyway. And Cordoba leading to 2-0, and this particular strategy is called the gunslinger, whereby we lay the current score, in this case 0-2, and we also lay the leading team, in this case it's Cordoba. So I've laid Cordoba at 1.14, 1.13 I should say, and I've laid the 0-2 correct score at 2.36. The idea being that if staked correctly, that I've got a £10 possible profit if there's another goal scored, which actually happened. Sporting Gijón got a goal in the sort of 85th minute. So we've won £10 on the correct score market, and it looks like we're kind of going to lose £4.55 on the match odds. But we sort of still made a profit there for a sort of £5.40. Another goal from Sporting, of course, it'd be happy days. Another strategy now, and this is called the full Monty, where we're looking for a game that's 0-0 at half time, and we want to back 0-0 and lay under 2.5. The idea being that should an early goal be scored, of course you'll lose the 0-0 bet, but the odds on under 2.5 will drift, and that means that you can maybe even sort of exit that trade or let it run, hoping for a sort of couple more goals. And this particular example in Serie B in Italy, Regina against Latina. Now the staking here is that I've laid the under 2.5 at 1.15. This is at half time, remember, for £50, giving myself a liability of £7.50 on the under 2.5. I backed the 0-0 for £9, giving me a green figure there of £21 on 0-0 and £9 liability on the rest. And I will let this run until round about the sort of the 70th minute mark. So let's see how that one sort of pans out. Another strategy, which is called laying the dog. Whereby if the underdog, i.e. that's not the pre-match favourite, is leading 2-0 or 0-2, then we can lay that team, assuming that the favourite are likely to get back into the game, which often does. And the great thing about this trade, of course, is that it's quite cheap, because you're laying in the match odds at sort of 1.4 or even lower. And here we have a nice example: Spezia against Padova. Spezia with the around about sort of 2.3, 2.2 pre-match favourites, and they were 0-2 down in the first half. So we could make a fairly well-informed opinion that the favourite Spezia should get back into the game. So we're laying Padova here with sort of very attractive odds, quite cheap at 1.23. And I've laid them for £25. The idea being that if Spezia do in fact get one goal back, then their odds on Padova will drift, and we can hedge out or at least clear the red. Just a quick point there: add to favourites. You can see there. You've got a lot of games on. Use that particular Betfair function so that the markets that you want are very easy to hand, and you can include them under your manage your favourites section. And as hoped for, Spezia, the favourite, did actually pull one back after 47 minutes. Very good news for us. I've got the choice here either to clear that red completely, which was £5.75, or I could actually just hedge out by backing Padova at the increased odds. We should see the market hasn't quite settled yet. I'm not taking the 1.42. Here we go. The market's settling down a bit now. 1.72. Just a quick tip there. When the market reformed after the goal, it was 1.48 to back. Or let it sort of settle for a minute or two, and the market will adjust itself to the correct prices. So I've taken 1.72. I'm backing this for £17 to give me around about £7 or £8 hedge green profit, whatever the result. So that game, or that particular trade is really over and done with. And moving over to the German Bundesliga 2 for an identical strategy, where Karlsruhe are playing away. They're the underdog and they're 2-0 ahead. So exactly the same principle as the previous game, Spezia against Padova. We're hoping that Munich will get a goal, and that will enable us to back Karlsruhe in the match odds market, as the price will obviously drift if Munich get a goal. There's a lot of Serie B games on this afternoon. I'm doing sort of at least 3 of them, so I've kept that sort of quite handy on my sort of desktop screen for easy access. This was the OD strategy, where it was 1-1 at half time. And the full Monty strategy, Regina against Latina, is still 0-0 there. And at this point, I've decided that I'm going to try and sort of scratch this trade, and by laying the 0-0 at 1.78. And you can see there that once I've done that, I will get sort of around about £8 green across all the scores, which covers exactly the liability on the over 3.5 market, on the over 2.5 I should say. Back over in Italy, now Carpi, the score rather is 2-1. It was 1-1 at half time. We've backed over 3.5 goals. We've also backed the draw, and it's 2-1. Now 70 minutes gone. Let's hope for sort of another, at least one more goal there, so we can win the over 3.5. Let's see how that one pans out. Back over to the Regina Latina game. 70 minutes gone, still 0-0. I've exited that trade basically by hedging for £8 green on the correct score market, which will cover the liability of £8 on the under 2.5. And good news for us, Carpi Trapani scored to level 2-all. So we've won £15.60 on the over 3.5, and we've also won £17 on the draw. Now, 5 minutes to go. I don't want to leave it like that. I've still got a £10 liability should either Carpi or Trapani get another goal in the last few minutes. So I'm quickly laying the draw at 1.33. Now, how much I'm laying for at £15 here, well, it depends. You can see on the what if figure there, I can get sort of £12 on the draw, £5 on Carpi or Trapani, or I could actually increase the lay, £17, just sort of moving up slightly for a goal by either side. Give me £7 if that should happen, or to be £11.30 should it remain a draw. Waiting for that particular lay to be matched at 1.33. And Right, there we go. So I'll leave it as it is. Now, Regina Latina, 85 minutes. I decided to lay 0-0 at the death at 1.16 for £20, just to give me a sort of £3 liability there. Remember that I had a scratch trade at that particular point. Click the button to put the lay in at 1.16. Market suspended. And now, has a goal been scored? Has it not? It looks like it has. And you can see there, I've got a potential £28 profit if that bet, in fact, had been matched. There we can see £28.50. Unfortunately, it wasn't. Latina did, in fact, score. So the idea was right. But unfortunately, I missed the lay getting matched there by sort of around about 5 seconds. So that's the fine line between sort of losing £3 or actually winning £28.50. It happens to all of us, so don't despair. You see, I was actually sort of so frustrated in a way that I just wanted to skip between the markets just to kind of verify that in fact a goal had been scored. I don't know quite why I was doing that, because obviously it's quite clearly it's marked and confirmed that Latina did score in the 87th minute. So what I'm doing here, clicking buttons, I've got no idea. So I'm sort of, perhaps I was thinking there was some kind of mirage or whatever. And luckily we did actually, in fact, lay the draw. Remember, at 1.33, because in the 91st minute, Carpi scored to make it 3-2. Remember, we had a £10 liability at that particular point before we laid the draw at 1.33. So we made a nice profit there. Spezia, the other 0-2 OD strategy, where Spezia were 0-2 down, they actually came back to make it 2-2. We potentially could have won £25, but in fact we had already hedged after the first goal by Spezia in 48 minutes. We made a backing of Padova there at 1.72, so we'd already hedged out there for an £8 profit. And we're trying the OD strategy once more over in Germany, the Bundesliga. Bremen against Schalke. Backing the draw for £12 and backing over 3.5 for £10. Again, this particular game, it was 1-1 at half time. Remember, we've already had one successful outcome of this particular strategy. Let's see if we can do it again. Using that star button there, we can see, just to add this particular game to our favourites for easy access. I was watching this game, and yeah, it over 3.5 goals looked doubtful. So I wasn't really wanting to come out of this with a £22 loss. So I decided to exit the match odds market by laying the draw at 1.53. And this would give me around about a £5.50 hedge green on the match odds market. There are £5, and I've got £10 liability on the under 3.5. So I'm looking to sort of accept a £5 loss there with sort of 10 minutes to go. And then one of our worst sort of scenarios, nightmares, the Betfair software crashes. We have open positions in our markets, our money's on the line. What can we do? Nothing. Just hope that Betfair sorts that out. I'm just sort of trying to confirm that through all the kind of markets. Anyway, lasted about sort of 4 or 5 minutes. I was able, fortunately, to get back into the game, and with a minute or two left, I laid a draw at 1.1 just to at least try and recover that £10 loss on the over 3.5. Wasn't to be, ended 1-1, so £3.75 on the draw and a £10 loss on the under 3.5. It was an overall loss of £6.25 on that particular game. And here's the final roundup. Quite a number of different strategies, some winners, some losers, but overall we came out with a profit. I hope you enjoyed that and that you found it useful.